Good morning, everyone. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Great to be with you on Inspirations for Your Life. Our master topic for the entire week, by the way, is respecting sacred spaces, honoring what matters. We're on Series 4, Show 13. And our granular topic for today is stay humble and self aware. Series 4, Show 13. This is episode number 6. That means we only have one more in the series before we actually switch over to a brand new topic, and that'll be Show 14. Wow. Where are these shows going? Okay. So welcome, everyone. Do check out believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, of course, inspiring creations. I would really love you to check those out. And I'm sure you will really love them. But you can check them out 24 hours a day after the show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is John C. Morley. I'm a serial entrepreneur, not only a podcast host, but I'm also a podcast coach. And I welcome you to Inspirations for Your Life today, March 27, 2025 at 6:45 a.m. And you can watch anytime you like. We stream anywhere live in the morning to midday, to sometimes evening. It just depends. Again, do check out believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. Staying humble and self-aware is more than just a mindset. It's a way of life that fosters growth. It builds strong relationships and creates meaningful success. In today's episode, I'm going to explore how to embrace humility without diminishing your worth, recognizing your strengths while remaining grounded and continuously evolving into the best version of yourself. Whether you're a leader, you're an entrepreneur, or someone striving for personal development, these insights will definitely help you navigate life with confidence and grace. So if you're ready, everyone, let's dive in. But before I do that, I invite you to go to the kitchen, maybe grab yourself something warm, hot, cold, whether that's coffee, whether that's juice, whether that's tea, whether you're going to make yourself some eggs or something else, or if it's another part of the day, getting something maybe that's just sweet or tart, healthy or not, that's truly up to you. So go ahead and definitely do that, everyone. Our first point is recognizing strengths without arrogance. I think a lot of people, and I know millennials have basically a trademark for doing this. I don't know why. I think a lot of them feel entitled and they feel that they don't need to be a certain way, but everyone needs to be a certain way. Everyone needs to be respectful. You need to lose the arrogance. I always say when people have the arrogance, that usually means that they're very superficial inside and generally somebody I don't want to be around. So, acknowledging your strength is essential for confidence and self motivation, but the key is to do it without arrogance. Okay. I know that sounds hard. True confidence comes from understanding your abilities while recognizing that everyone has value. Instead of boasting about your achievements, let your actions speak for themselves. Share your knowledge to uplift others. Rather than seeking validation, the most respected individuals are those who lead with what I like to say a quiet set of confidence, inspiring others without the need for constant praise. You've heard of people that say, whenever people are doing things, basically don't worry about what I say, just do what I do, right? And some people say the opposite. I think our actions definitely speak louder than words. We've learned this before from other shows. Understanding this is very, very important. And if you're someone that acts with arrogance, I encourage you to temper that. Sometimes arrogance pops up. You know why? Because people are, let's say, insecure of themselves. Okay. But in order to understand this a little bit more, I'm going to drift off to Merriam-Webster, who we do a lot of times, and we're going to ask Merriam-Webster for the definition of arrogant. So arrogant is an adjective, exaggerating or disposed, exaggerating one's worth. So what does it mean? An overbearing manner. It can mean dominant, smug, masterful, but in a way that's very rude and very pretentious. It's okay to be authoritarian, but there's a way to do this, with grace, and there's a way to also do this being a jerk. And this happens with a lot of people I know, sometimes younger than me, and they just feel that, they're owed something. All right. Number two, guys, acknowledging weakness and areas for growth. I think that's a very, very important one. No one is perfect in this world, and recognizing your areas for being important is a sign of strength, not weakness, and the improvement that comes within that. So Being honest with yourself about your limitations allows you to seek help, learn, and grow. It's about shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, one that embraces challenges as opportunities rather than avoiding mistakes. Analyze them, extract lessons, and apply them to future endeavors. A willingness to grow keeps you adaptable and ahead of the curve. Number three, guys, number three, that is listening to feedback with an open mind. See, a lot of people start, whether it's on other platforms, they come in, they watch, but then they think that they're just going to get everything in 30 seconds. And that's not how it works. You've got to stay with the show for the entire time if you want to learn. Those that drift in and drift out, well, that's actually a little bit of a sign of arrogance that, I don't need this, right? And I think being a coach for a long time and being an engineer, I have a strong respect and resolve that I can always learn more, right? I can always learn more than, people would think. Regardless. I mean, that's why I'm going back to school, right? I want to keep furthering my education. Listen to the feedback you get with an open mind. Feedback is one of those valuable tools for self improvement, but only if you receive it with an open mind. And I always say that it should be consistent, constructive feedback, not this arrogant feedback, right? Never about power trips. Instead of becoming defensive when you receive it, approach feedback with curiosity and a desire to learn. Even criticism, when constructive, provides a roadmap for progress. Surround yourself with people who offer honest insights rather than just praise, and use their perspectives to refine your approach. Growth happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you listen, reflect, and act. But I know sometimes there are those people that give feedback, and the feedback they give is just, it's terrible. And so this feedback makes you just kind of want to go in with shell and do nothing, right? I know what that's like. Trust me. So whenever I give feedback, I make sure, number one, that if the feedback is going to be very personal, I make sure I take the person aside. And even when I do that in private, I am still cognizant of, stroking their ego a little and saying, hey, I love the way you're doing this. And this is great. And I think we need to just change these things. Now, it's not you. It's just some of the behaviors we need to change. So again, it's not you. It's always the behavior we're correcting. It's never the person. There's nothing wrong with the person. It's just how they're reacting. So staying grounded in success and failure is another big key for really going up the success ladder. Success can be exhilarating and failure can be crushing, but neither should define you. Stay grounded. It means to keep perspective in both highs and the lows that happen. When you succeed, remember the journey that got you there and the people who supported you. When you face setbacks, view them as a learning experience rather than personal defeats. Life is a constant cycle of ups and downs, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's important to understand. And maintaining the balance ensures you stay focused and motivated. Number five, guys, that is practicing gratitude and appreciation. This is one of my all-time favorites. When I get up every morning, many of you know that I'm Roman Catholic, but not to put that agenda on everybody. I want to let you know that the first thing I do when I get up in the morning, usually within maybe 2 to 3 minutes of getting up, is I'll thank God, I'll thank Lord. I'm like, thank you for another great, wonderful day, for being alive. Thank you so much. Practicing gratitude is all about thanking for everything you have, but not just saying the words thank you. It's actually about um, feeling the gratitude, feeling the thank you. I think that's a big, big part. So gratitude is a powerful force that keeps you humble and connected to what truly matters. When you take the time to appreciate your opportunities, relationships, your experiences, you develop a deeper sense of fulfillment. I think this is important. A simple thank you can strengthen relationships, can create a positive ripple effect, and making it a habit to reflect on the good in your life. And you'll find that gratitude naturally cultivates success and an inner sense of peace. And with that inner sense of peace, we are delivered a feeling of grace. And it's this grace that basically humbles us, all right, and allows us to understand and connect with more great things. So when we're grateful for things, more things in our life show up that we can become grateful for. I think that is a very, very big one. Number six, avoid the ego trap. I mentioned this before, I kind of highlighted it, but it's important. Doesn't matter whether you're older than me, younger than me, egos should be kept in check. And I always say, whenever I give a seminar or something, please leave your egos at the door, right? Because there's no room in the seminar for egos. There's no room in our company for egos. So egos can be one of the biggest barriers to personal and professional growth. It blinds you to reality, makes you resistant to change, and distances you from others. A strong ego often leads to missed opportunities because it prioritizes pride over progress. By keeping your ego in check, you remain open to leading, learning, collaborating, and of course, constructive criticism, all of which are essential for long term success. Notice I said something very important, ladies and gentlemen. I said consistent constructive feedback. Okay. Consistent constructive feedback. So again, I get a lot of people that tune in real quick and they just watch 2 or 3 minutes and then it doesn't resonate with them. Like, like, oh, that's not me. So one thing I'm going to tell you is if you're somebody who is not seeing things as the way they are, then that typically means that you are you're probably somebody who's putting blinders on. And so that's a good indication that you are probably, um, let's say, having the presence of a big ego. And again, egos happen for lots of reasons. They can happen for frustration, but the whole key is to keep an ego in check. You have to do that, or you're going to get annoyed. You're going to piss other people off. It's a big problem. Number 7, being mindful of how you treat others. This is a really big, big, big one. Your interactions with others say a lot about your character, whether it's colleagues, employees, friends, or strangers. Treating people with kindness and respect fosters meaningful connections. Humility shines through your life and how you acknowledge others and their contributions, uplifting others around you, practicing empathy. The way you make people feel is often remembered far longer than your words or achievements. So always strive to leave a positive impact. I've said before, people will always forget what you've done for them. People will forget, like I said, what you said to them. But what they'll never forget is the words or the things you've done that make them feel a certain way. That is going to be a big core crux of what establishes trust and starts to build a long-term relationship, whether it's platonic or non-platonic. So personal growth, ladies and gentlemen, is a lifelong journey. The thing to understand about this is personal growth is the lifelong journey. And the moment you think you know everything is the moment you stop evolving. I never say that I know everything. I'm always learning and I'm always humbled to learn more. So stay curious, seek new knowledge, and challenge yourself to improve daily. Read books, take courses, engage in discussions, watch podcasts like mine, and surround yourself with people who inspire your growth. The most successful individuals, okay, are those who never stop learning and adapting to new perspectives. I've always said you got to practice getting comfortable being uncomfortable, right? You got to practice getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's where the growth happens. It's where you're uncomfortable. Number 9, understanding that no one has all the answers. If they do, they're lying to you. Even the greatest minds of our time and in history didn't have all the answers. The ability to admit when you don't know something is a sign of wisdom, not weakness. It creates space for collaboration, new ideas, and unexpected solutions. Instead of pretending to have all the answers, ask questions like seek guidance and be open to different viewpoints. True leaders embrace the unknown and use it as fuel for discovery. I think that's something that a lot of arrogant people have. They believe they got to know everything. In the tech field, I get younger people coming in, and they tell me they know everything. They want to impress me on the interview, or we do like a test with them to see if they know what they're doing. One of the tests I do is I break something on a computer on purpose. I had one guy come in one time, and I get on the phone, and 5 seconds later, I hear this big pop noise. I go out there and I said to him, "What happened?" He goes, "I don't know." He goes, it just popped." I said, "Well, what did you do?" He says, "I just connected everything." I said, "What did you connect?" So, "Well, I connected all wires." So, "Where did you connect things?" So I went through some. He's like, I said, "Did you connect this wire to this bus or this bus?" "Oh, I don't remember." Well, that's a big problem because if you connected it to this bus, it's going to short out and it's going to smoke because you can't plug in, something that's going to have, let's say, something like, for example, that's going to take lower voltage. You plug in here, it's going to arc like an LED light. You don't plug that into. You may not want to plug that into 24 volts, depending on what it has. So it's very important that you understand these things. And so he was like very adamant in the fact, he wanted this much money. And I said, well, um, you broke this. And it's clear to me that you don't know how to build computers. And again, it wasn't about me trying to be rude to him, but it was the fact that he already lied to me. So I said to him, well, if you want a chance with this, you're first going to go fix this. And he's like, oh, okay, no problem. He spent the whole day fixing it. He broke the connector off $1,000 component, and he damaged a $500 motherboard. But I made him go drive to the supplier, him to go get the part. But one thing he learned after that is he wasn't as smart as he thought it was. Now, that wasn't why I did it. I did it to try to teach him humility and the fact that he could have costed us a lot of money. Thankfully, our supplier was willing to take that part back. So, if he would have said to me, hey, John, I don't know how to do this, I have no clue how to build a computer, I would have said, okay, fine. Well, we can show you something, because it's people say it's always easy to ask for forgiveness and just do it first. Not when it comes to business, not when you're expected to be something or do something or be responsible for knowing something that could affect your life, other people's lives, and not to mention damage trust, but the safety factor. All right. So obviously, after that, and because of his attitude, we just said we're not a fit, and we thank you so much for your time. And I explained to him, when you go on other interviews, don't come off so pompous and so arrogant. And he never expected that I was going to put him in his place with a test that was a live test. Balancing confidence with humility is key. Confidence and humility are not opposites, they're complementary. Okay. True confidence is knowing your worth without the need to prove it to others. Humility, on the other hand, allows you to stay approachable, open minded, and receptive to learning. When you master the balance between two caveats here, you become a leader who inspires learning, who evolves, and a person others genuinely respect. Now, I know you're probably saying, John, but that's just how I am. It's my excitement. Well, you've got to temper your excitement. I think that is a big, big important thing. You've got to temper your excitement. And when you temper your excitement, I think hopefully you'll know what's going on. So now I want to share with you basically a personal story for each point today, and hopefully that gets you to understand it more, and that will get you to connect. All right. So let me start off with a couple great stories. All right. So one story was early, it was recognizing strengths without arrogance. Early in my career, ladies and gentlemen, I had just landed a big contract that felt like a major win. I was tempted to share the news with everyone, but instead I focused on delivering outstanding results. A few months later, a client told me, I knew you were talented, but what impressed me most was how you let your work speak for itself. Okay. That moment taught me that true confidence is about showing off. It's about consistency, excellence, and uplifting others. Now, sometimes you need to tell somebody that you're good, and that's admirable. But there's a difference between sharing that, like your accomplishments, and bragging about it. Okay, that is really, really key. And again, what I've noticed with these different casts is people that drop off are the ones that tend to be arrogant, the ones that say, "Oh, that's not me." And those are the people that I'm really addressing here today. Everyone this affects, but the ones that tune in and they tune out, I know we might lose some people. It's because they have an arrogance. Oh, well, I'm much better than that. Yeah. Well, if you're much better than that, you're the kind of person I'm talking about. You're the person that needs to adjust your character, who you are, not for just yourself, but for others, because you're going to be taken as somebody that is really terrible. Number two, another great lesson, and that is acknowledging weakness in areas for growth. When I started my first business, I own several today, I thought I had to do everything myself. One day I struggled for hours trying to fix a technical issue before finally asking a colleague for help. This was my very first time working on something like this. After reaching out, I later learned that there were some areas that I had a gap in, and I had to build those up. Now, I was extremely knowledgeable, but in the beginning years, I was not an expert at fiber. Now, I know fiber very well. And so appreciating that and the fact of having a mentor and knowing that I needed to take some more skills is important. I have somebody I'm working with right now, and that person is trying to get back into a job. Unfortunately, they've been out of the workforce for many years, and they keep getting turned down. The reason they're getting turned down is two things. One, their attitude, and two, they don't have some of the new expected skills that are required in that field. And this is not even a technical position, but they require to have certain digital skills with computers in certain software, which the person doesn't have. I've told them they need to take some other skills. Well, they're kind of saying it's just a resume. And I said, it's more than the resume. Okay. It's more than that. It's you. All right. So that experience taught me that those gaps need that I should not be ashamed to take on new knowledge and admit that, this is something I need to learn more about. From then on, I surrounded myself with experts and embraced learning rather than trying to be the smartest in the room. I just try to be the best I can be and get a little bit better every single day and do that with a humble mindset and approach. Listening to feedback with an open mind. This is something that very arrogant people have a hard time doing. I once gave a presentation that I thought went flawlessly, but afterward, a mentor pulled me aside and said, "You had great content, but your delivery felt rushed." At first, I was a little defensive. This was my first real presentation before I graduated college. But then I realized he was right. All my facts were right, but I was just nervous. Instead of ignoring the advice, I worked on slowing it down, pausing for impact, and refining my speaking style. That feedback transformed my public speaking, and now I actively seek input from others with everything I do. I always tell people, if you can do it better, great. If you have a suggestion for me, let me know. I'm always here to learn. And I think that is a real key. Number four. Number four is this. It's staying grounded in success and failure. A few years ago, I had back-to-back successes that made me feel unstoppable. Then a major deal fell through unexpectedly. The disappointment had hit me hard, but I reminded myself that just as success doesn't last forever, neither do setbacks. I took the lesson, I adjusted my approach, and within months, I was back on track again. That experience reinforced the importance of staying balanced, neither getting too high on wins or too low, and knowing that there needs to be that ebb and flow. So if there's some losses, there could be a lot more gains. You just have to play that scale very similar to a roller coaster. Number five is a big, big favorite of mine, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is practicing gratitude and appreciation. I once had an employee who worked tirelessly behind the scenes, making sure everything ran smoothly. One day I took a moment to genuinely thank him for his hard work. He actually teared up and said, "No one has ever told me that before." That moment stuck with me. It showed me that appreciation isn't just, can we say, necessary? It's something that people need to do more of. A simple thank you can make someone's day and strengthen relationships in ways we often underestimated. And so I think it comes from the humbleness, it comes from the truth, it comes from the fact that I'm willing to help you succeed. When you're giving advice with the idea that it's there to help someone, that's not typically going to be arrogant. When I'm giving advice to let you know that, oh, I'm better than you and I could have done that to, that's not what learning is. That's not what embracing. That's not what teaching is about. That's not what learning is about. I think a lot of people miss that today. Number six, talking about avoiding the ego trap. I remember working with a successful business owner who always dismissed others and their ideas immediately. Like, he was smarter than everybody. He believed his way was the only way. Eventually, his unwillingness to adapt led his business to a struggling pitfall. Watching that unfold was a wake-up call for me. I made a conscious decision to keep my ego in check, listen to different perspectives, and always be open to learning. Ego can bind us to opportunities, but humility keeps us growing. Unfortunately, that gentleman was so willing to be open to change that he went out of business. All because he didn't take the feedback that his own staff was giving him, which today would have brought him to the top of the charts. But some people need to go down with their ego. I always say your ego is going to hurt you if it's not a good one. And the ego should be kept in check at all times. Number seven, guys, my personal story here is Once during a networking event, I struck a conversation with someone who seemed quiet and unassuming. I treated him with the same respect I would anyone else. Months later, I was surprised to receive an invitation to an exclusive business opportunity. Turns out he was an influential decision maker. That experience reinforced the lesson that how we treat people matters. You never know who may have a positive impact on your life. A lot of times I go to networking events, and today I'm a lot more skeptical to the ones that I go to, and I rarely go to a free one. Most of the people at these events have their hand out, and they're like, well, what can you do for me? And although that's good, I think it's important that it needs to be a two-way street. Many of these events are about them bragging about all the stuff they did. Whenever I go to these events, they ask me what I did. I just say, well, I've done that. I've worked on this. And I just take it very humbly. If they want to know more, I share some details, but I don't brag. There's a difference between sharing information and bragging about a story. For example, if you got a degree, well, I'm very proud and humble that I got this degree, or I was fortunate after many years of studying that I was able to get this degree. That's not bragging. Bragging is, oh my gosh, yes, I got this degree, and I'm smarter than everybody. That's bragging. Number 8, continuously learning and evolving. Years ago, I believed I had mastered my industry. Then a younger entrepreneur introduced me to a new technology that was changing the game. Instead of dismissing it, I dove in and started learning everything about it. What was that? Artificial intelligence. Today, artificial intelligence is now my master and will become my PhD very soon. The willingness to evolve gave me a competitive edge and kept me ahead of the curve. The moment that you think you've arrived is the moment you stop growing. So keep working, everyone. Understanding that no one has all the answers. I once had a client ask me technical questions that I didn't know the answer to. Instead of pretending that I did, I said, that's a great question. I don't know. I need to check on that for you. And they respected that. Balancing confidence with humility. I've met people who were incredibly talented, but alienated others by their arrogance or because of their degrees or their money. I've also met humble people who didn't believe in themselves enough to step into opportunities. The ones who inspire me the most are those who balance both confidence in their abilities, but humble enough to keep learning. That's the kind of person I strive to be every day. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope these stories and I hope these things have taught you truth. Now, if you're arrogant, you're probably going to dismiss everything I said, and there's nothing I can do about that. My name is John C. Morley. I'm a serial entrepreneur, engineer, podcast host, also a podcast coach, and many other great things, including a video producer. I invite you to check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to catch you guys on another show real soon. But remember, everyone, please make the choice to stay humble and self-aware, and your success, ladies and gentlemen, will skyrocket. That I'll promise you.